You know, I wish I could. You ever notice how cats, when they're sleeping, like they look so comfortable? They curl up and they're laying here on my bed. This is Chunky, and this is Ash. Ash is the one that just had babies and they all died. They starved. She wasn't producing any milk. Chunk, she's a good boy. Yes, she is a good boy. It's a good boy. Yes, you are. It's a good baby. Hey, Ash. What's she doing?
And see if that destroys the entire building. Yes, I can. Because I want you to be able to see it.
GoPro, stop recording. I want you to look here. I left this drawer open. This is kind of my little junk bench in my bedroom. And look in my drawer. They was on my bed. Now they're in the drawer.
But I keep my things.
I need to clean this mess up. Hey, Chunk. Hey, baby. Hey, Ash. I don't know why they started hanging in my room all of a sudden. GoPro, stop recording. I got a little childhood story. I remembered a lot of things. This one here was probably about 1973 or 1974, something like that. It was after Jennifer was born. And she was born in 70, and Bud was born in 1972. So this might have been 1975. Bud, my son, he was still in diapers. I remember, you know what, I remember when Jennifer was born, disposable diapers wasn't a thing, and you used regular diapers. And we used a diaper service. You put the dirty diapers in a container, and a diaper service would come by and give you a new batch of diapers and take the old ones and clean them and all that. But I remember this thing about Bud. He farted a lot. But one time, but he was to the point then he would say if he needed to, if he pooped in his diaper. And one day we kept getting this baby poop smell. I mean, and it was getting baby, do you need to change your diaper? No. and it was several times after that we asked you, did you poop? No. And finally, we asked him again, and he come up to his mama and pulled his diaper down and said, I just farted. He must have been 3 or 4 years, I can't remember. But he was talking, and I think at that time Jennifer was potty trained. But I remember one time she was laying up on the baby thing, the counter thing, and Jennifer was changing her diaper. And all of a sudden we seen about that much of a worm, and I think it was like a big earthworm. And my wife screamed, and she reached down there and she grabbed it and she pulled that worm out of her. It was about that long. I don't know what kind of worm it was. Somebody said it was tapeworm. I don't know. It just looked like a cotton pick. I ain't never forgot that. And Jennifer, you could not set her down and not let her walk around in the yard and stuff, because if you set her down there, the first thing she was going to do was grab some dirt and try to eat it. She was bad about that, man. You couldn't trust her. Bud wasn't like that. And Jaden, if you set him down, you better have a leash on him. Because first thing he does, he takes off. And I couldn't keep up with him. It didn't take me but a couple of times to learn not to set him down unless I had hold of him. I remember something about my childhood. When we was kids, there was 5 of us. And me, Carolyn, and George was oldest. Michael and Joe were babies. And Mom and Daddy, they went and bought these, I call them a harness. It's a thing that goes over your shoulder, goes around your chest, and it's got a leash on it. She put me, Carolyn, and George on a leash when they was out walking. And they'd hold the leash, and then they was one was holding Michael and one was holding Joe. But I remember those harnesses. I hated those things. I'm telling you, I hated those things. But yeah, I remember some funny stuff when we were kids. I remember, Easter was last Sunday. I didn't even know. Was it Easter? Or Yeah, it was Easter. I didn't know it was Easter. Didn't have no clue whatsoever. And you know, Easter Sunday was always a big thing. And you always got dressed up. There was Easter baskets with candy and stuff in it. I don't know anybody that does that anymore. Matter of fact, I had a picture of me on Easter Sunday in 1953. I was all dressed up in a little suit in Jacksonville, Florida. It was either 53 or 54. That was one of the pictures I lost when this last computer of mine took a dump. But it don't seem like to me nobody celebrates Easter much anymore. And same thing about Halloween. Halloween's not such a big deal anymore. And Halloween, that was one of my favorite holidays. I love getting out on Halloween night and gallivanting around and getting a bar of soap and drawing on people's screens if it didn't give you a treat. One Halloween in 1955, I was going to school at Mattie V. Rutherford in Jacksonville, Florida. And they had a Halloween carnival. And get out of here. And I made a costume. Couldn't buy a costume. No, Mama didn't have the money to buy a costume. So I made me a costume. I dressed up in some raggedy clothes. And if it wasn't ragged, I'd tear a hole in it. And I wore a big old hat. And I took Spanish moss. Everybody knows what Spanish moss is. I put it all over my head and it was hanging all over my body. And I won first prize at a contest they were having at the school. And of course, I didn't get money for it. Well, I got $2. Got $2 and some handful of candy. But I guess I wish I had a picture of that. But that was, I think it was 1955. I was about 13. Something like that. That was some parts of my childhood that I enjoyed. My childhood wasn't great when my mom and daddy separated and divorced in 1951. And and Mama disappeared for 3 years, didn't know where didn't know she was going to drop us off at my grandma's and abandon me, Carolyn, and George. Took 2 babies with her. I could hear them talking. They didn't know I was listening. Well, I wasn't really listening, but I could hear them. And Aunt Mamie and Uncle Jack was talking about adopting me. And And Daddy, he was all okay with that. I can hear him talking in there. And then it hit me that, man, I'll be getting to live with Aunt Mamie and Uncle Jack and Frankie and Lewis would be my brothers. You know, they were my favorite cousins. I was so happy with that. But then they was talk about, well, should we adopt Carolyn to my sister, you know? But they didn't mention George. George was living with Aunt Rosa May. And I think they was talking about adopting him. But turns out, somehow or another, nobody knew where Mom was at, but they had to get her to sign off on it or something. And Mama wouldn't sign off. It was almost like she didn't want me, but she didn't want nobody else to have me. I never have understood that. But of course, Mama hated Aunt Mamie because Uncle Jack and Mama had fooling around at one point, and Aunt Mamie found out about it. And Mama was over at Grandmama's house. Aunt Mamie walked across that field, walked in that door, and Mama was sitting there. And Aunt Mamie punched her so hard that she landed out the back door on the ground. And Aunt Mamie told this to the family one day. She just broke out and told this. Everybody was shocked. That Aunt Mamie punched Clean Mama's clock. I was so tickled over that. But that's why Mama didn't like Aunt Mamie. Aunt Mamie kicked her ass. And I don't know this to be a fact, but I think, and George thinks, that Uncle Jack was George's biological father. I don't know that. And I don't know where George got that notion. But George looked just like Uncle Jack. George didn't look like any of those other kids. But that's another skeleton in the closet. But I wish I could have lived with them. You know, in hindsight, all those times I was running away, I could have went to Aunt Mamie's house, and she would have took me in and raised me. I don't know why I didn't think about that. But that's that story. Anyhow, folks, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. But, lot lot of memories come crashing back. Okay, guys, girls. Oh, pain in the foot. Oh, man. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm out of here. See you in the next one. See you, folks. GoPro, stop recording. Didn't know that was coming. I remember when she left Daddy on Mother's Day 1951 and took all his kids with her boyfriend that she was having an affair with. Daddy was a drunk. He was alcoholic. So I don't know whether it was, I don't know. But I had to work on the farm a lot when Mama left. And I wanted my mama. I was 10 years old. I wanted my mother. I wasn't close to Daddy. I was close to Mama. And at one time, well, more than one time, I'd be working out on the farm with one of my aunts and uncles. And that's where they sent us during the summer. And you had to go out there and work in the fields. And they'd always push you, when they say you're going to be chopping corn today, you're going to be chopping soybeans today or whatever, you know. And by that, it means you're going to be out there with a hoe going up down the rows chopping the weeds out with a hoe. And it wasn't no little short rows. I mean, it was long rows so long you could barely see from one end to the other. And I'd be chopping, and there's a big old dirt road that run beside the field, and I see a car coming, the dust flying up from it. And I remember thinking that I wish that was Mama coming to get me. And if she'd ever did that, I would have sure went with her. But it never was, and Mama never come to get me. But those were some long rows. And that one field of cotton, the rows were so long, but at the end of the row, on one end of it, there was a spring out there in a little patch of trees. You could get water, nice cold water. You wasn't carrying any water with you. And I'd try to chop that row as fast as I could to get to that water. But you got the water, then you got on the next row, and you started chopping up one row and then coming all the way back down before you get more water. It was probably just water, but boy, it just tasted heavily when you got down there. And I learned real quick, when you're chopping that road, don't half-ass it and leave a lot of weeds sitting. Because if your uncle come by and saw you he'd make you go up and down that same row again. And hot, hot, I reckon. But it was almost a good time. I guess if I had my mama to go home to each night, it wouldn't have been so bad. Wouldn't have been bad. But Aunt Mamie and Uncle Jack, they wanted to adopt me. I heard her and Uncle Jack one time. I was at Grandma's house, and I was in the other room, and I could hear